Hi friends, welcome back to Edupedia World. Today we will discuss further into electromagnetic induction, and specifically we will discuss about what is electromagnetic induction and how is current generated with change in magnetic field. We'll see the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, and finally we'll close the chapter, rather the lecture, by looking into two laws to find the direction of the induced EMF. First is the Faraday's right hand rule, and second, the more popular law, the Lenz's law. So let's start our discussion on electromagnetic induction. We have already seen in our previous discussion that a current carrying wire produces a magnetic field. Now, a scientist by the name of Faraday, what he thought is when a current carrying wire can produce magnetic field, is it possible for magnetic field to produce current? With this intention, he developed an experiment, and the result of that experiment showed that in fact it is possible to generate current using magnetic field, and this phenomena of generation of electric current by a magnetic field is known as electromagnetic induction. Now the experiment which is set up is something like this. You take a coil wound like this and a galvanometer to see if there is any deflection, thereby showing that there is a current generated. There is no battery or anything attached to it, therefore any current which is generated will be due to magnetic field variations. Now what Faraday did was that he took a bar magnet and initially he kept the bar magnet stagnant at a position. As a result, there was no deflection. Okay, the bar magnet, like in this case, when there is no movement of the bar magnet, there is no current flowing through the wire, thereby there is no deflection. Now what he did is that he moved the bar magnet relative to my wiring system, the current wire loop. As a result of the movement of the magnet, there was deflection in the galvanometer, which showed that moving magnetic bar produces current in the loop. What he did next was he moved away the bar magnet, and again he observed that there is a deflection caused, thereby revealing that there is a current flowing, but now the deflection is in the opposite direction to the one which was here. So if the north pole is approaching the coil and the deflection is towards the right, then if the north pole is receding the coil, then the deflection will be towards left. Next what he did he reversed the polarity, that is, he brought this as south and this as north, and then what he observed is when you push the south inside, then the galvanometer now moved towards the left rather than the right when north was pushed inside. Similarly, if this is south and this is north and the south is taken away, then what he saw is that the galvanometer moved towards the right rather than left. So there was something interesting going on here. The change in the magnetic field in the coil was resulting in the production of current. He thought about one more idea. What he did was, instead of moving the bar magnet, he kept the bar magnet stationary and he moved this whole coil system towards the bar magnet and away from the bar magnet, both for the north pole case and the south pole case. And he observed that even in those cases current is produced. Thereby the inference that he developed was that in case there is relative motion between the bar magnet and the coil, a current is being produced. If there is no relative motion, like in this case, then no current is being generated. Okay, so this is the holistic picture about electromagnetic induction. There is something happening with the magnetic field that is resulting in production of electricity. Okay, so the conclusions from this observation that can be drawn is a current flows in a coil only when there is a relative motion between the bar magnet and the coil. The direction of the current can be reversed by reversing the direction of motion. And another thing that he observed was the larger the magnitude of the bar magnet, that is, more magnetic the bar magnet, more is the deflection produced, meaning more is the current generated. Also, if the number of coils were more, he observed more deflection, thereby revealing that more current is generated. Okay, and finally he also observed that if the area of cross section of the coil was increased, then higher deflection was observed and more current was generated. So these were some of the conclusions from the Faraday's experiment. Now, what was the explanation that Faraday gave for this thing happening? The explanation was quite simple. When you see a bar magnet, you have a magnetic field around it, right? Inside, if this is south and this is north, then inside we have from south to north, and outside the magnetic field is like this, north to south. Okay, north to south. Now the magnetic field intensity is closer here and it is less here. More number of magnetic field lines passes close to the magnetic bar than away. What theory he gave was that if the number of magnetic field lines passing through the coil is changing, then that is resulting in electric current to be developed. So basically, if the number of magnetic field lines is changing, that is leading to current formation. Now the number of magnetic field lines is represented by what is known as the flux, magnetic flux. So if there is a change in the magnetic flux through the coil, current will be produced in the coil. That is the fundamental of electromagnetic induction. So holistically, what we can say is electromagnetic induction is the process of induction of an EMF in a coil by changing magnetic flux. Okay, so EMF induced in a coil by changing magnetic flux. And what exactly is magnetic flux? Magnetic flux is the net number of magnetic lines passing through the system. That is the magnetic flux. Okay, and what exactly is producing the electrical energy? Obviously there is a electrical energy produced here, right? So how is the electrical energy being produced? The electrical energy is being produced by conversion of mechanical energy to electrical energy. You are moving the bar magnet with respect to the coil system, and that is mechanical energy that you are inputting. The output that you are getting is electrical energy. So there is no new energy being generated, there is just transformation of energy from mechanical to electrical energy. Okay, now Faraday, based on his observation, gave few laws which are known as the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Let's see that. Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. The first thing is, whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with a coil, an EMF will be induced. Change in magnetic flux induces EMF. So this is also the basic definition of electromagnetic induction. Second, the magnitude of the EMF produced will be directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux. So the EMF produced is proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. What this implies is, if we move the bar magnet through a particular distance in 1 second in one case, and in another case we move the bar through the same distance in 2 seconds, then in the second case, since the rate of change of magnetic flux is less electromagnetic force will be induced. Faster the movement, more will the electromagnetic force be induced. Okay, now what is the magnitude of the induced electromagnetic force? So the electromotive force. The magnitude of the electromotive force is defined as the net change in magnetic flux upon the time for that change. So basically electromagnetic force is the rate of change of the magnetic flux. Okay, now this gives you an idea about what is electromagnetic induction, what causes the electromagnetic induction resulting in production of current, what are the Faraday's law. But till now we have not discussed how do we find the direction of current produced by electromagnetic induction. So let's see the rules by which we can decide what is the direction of current produced. There are two rules which are commonly used to find the direction of the flow of current or of the induced EMF in the case of electromagnetic induction. The first, which we are going to see, is known as Fleming's right hand rule. Remember that we had already studied something which is known as Fleming's left hand rule. This is Fleming's right hand rule. In this, you spread your 3 fingers of the right hand perpendicular to each other. Under such circumstance, if the direction of magnetic field is given by the fourth finger, the direction of motion of the conductor given by the thumb, then the direction of the middle finger will give the direction in which the current will flow through the circuit. So this simple law is known as Fleming's right hand rule, or also alternatively it is called as generator rule. There is a second law. This is the first law. The second law, which can be used to determine the direction, and that is known as Lenz's law. Okay, now what Lenz's law states is that the direction of induced EMF always tend to oppose the cause which produces it. Let me write it down. Direction of induced EMF always tries to oppose its cause. Okay, what this means is I will discuss it through this example. Here what is happening, you are bringing the north pole close to this end of the loop, okay, as a result, basically what you are doing, you are inserting the north inside. What Lenz's law states that the system will try to oppose this. In order to oppose this, this end should develop a north pole, isn't it? Only when this end develops a north pole, then it will try to repel away the conductor. And once we know that this end is the north pole, then we already know this simple theory that for this to be the north pole, the current should move in an anti-clockwise direction. Thereby, we can say that this should be the direction of current. Similarly, here the north pole is taken away, so this will become my south pole. South pole means, let me draw it again. South pole means the loop should have current flowing in clockwise direction, which means if we see from here, then the current should flow from this direction to like this, that is the clockwise direction. Okay, so basically Lenz's law helps you determine the direction of current indirectly. Now the basis of Lenz's law is conservation of energy. What it is stating is basically that any system tries to remain in a state of equilibrium. It tries to oppose anything which is trying to undo its state of equilibrium. Thereby, it tries to maintain its energy state. Okay, so Lenz's law is basically a resultant of law of conservation of energy. So today we saw the electromagnetic induction, the concept of it, the Faraday's laws, and finally we close the chapter by the discussion of how to find the direction of induced EMF or the direction of current. Okay, this concept which we have developed in today's lecture will be used in further 2 lectures to discuss one, the AC generator. The AC generator is based on the concept of electromagnetic induction, and second we'll discuss transformers which are used to either step up the voltage or step down the voltage, and we'll see that that also indirectly depends on electromagnetic induction. So till our next class, have a great day. Goodbye.